Welcome back to some Spiritfarer. I'm dear darling, and together we'll continue helping our friends to cross to the afterlife. Where last time we, you know what? I remember what we're doing. We are bringing Daria to the Everdoor because we have finished her quest, and with that, once we bring Daria to the Everdoor, we can start Jackie's quest, which is something I looked up. But apart from that, I don't think we're doing anything else, are we? We must be coming to near the end, I think, of Spiritfarer's DLC, which is, you know, I mean, Spiritfarer is a fantastic game. What can I say? Well, it's, actually, it's a fantastic story, I would say, and its game is alright. You know, the management aspect of it, I think, is fine. Is what I'd say. It's not my favorite part of the game, absolutely, but the story more than makes up for it. you can forget some of the stories. You know, things like Alice's, Summer's, Gwen. Well, you know, like every character's really has been incredibly memorable. And honestly, Darius has also left quite the impression on me. I think she's very much climbing up the ranks for. I can't tell. You know, it's really hard to choose a favorite character. To be perfectly honest, it's like near impossible, I would wager. I mean, my memory still says it's Summer, but I don't actually know if that's the case necessarily. But because Daria's story is really, really good, and I don't know, I think it just sort of like it jives with me the exact way it's told. Because I guess it's so through like metaphors and through like ambiguous, not ambiguous, but it's done through, I suppose, analogy rather than and sort of like the atmosphere of the story rather than the actual, you know, just telling you what it is itself. Oh, I do need to remember we need to do the archive room stuff too. We have a few more people for us to read some facts about. But firstly, you know, get your tissues ready as we bid farewell to Daria. I believe Daria's farewell takes priority over our farewell. Can I remember Daria's voice? Stella, the air is different. We reached it, have we not? Yes. No. Yes. Then let us leave. You got anything to say back? No. You're hungry though. You want some food? Let's give you some food before we leave. Why don't we give you some lokma? Absolute silence. It's more like a final rites meal. Yes, and I believe we did find the favourite food and not favourite foods of Daria, so, you know, it's time to say farewell, Daria. It's genuinely a very interesting character, I suppose. The air, it has this quality. Yes, I understand now. All the pieces of the self that were lost, well, they ought to be here. I wonder if that is actually referring to yourself, or if you're trying to insinuate for us as well, you know, more than one. You look dejected. Do not. You knew all along, Stella. You had to. Did you think it would not end here? No. I cannot be fooled like the others. Yeah, for someone who the entire, I suppose, point of her story was how her interactions with the world always seemed clouded and people never really understood her. She has a surprising amount of, like, I don't know, is accuracy the right word, but like awareness. The laws of this ocean have no bearing on me. Which you know, is interesting. Obviously, you know, people are laid, people are deep, there's more to them than one dimension. You travelled with me, Stella, and I am grateful for it. Of all, only you saw the beauty within the depths. The wonders that have amazed and alienated me. Well, you know, you just get to know someone, Daria. I hope you see now that I am not to be pitied. Such brilliance is a gift like no other, and I'm happy that with me you could glance at it. What a beautiful way of putting it. Even in the face of death, you know, she feels very different from the others. She's like, I'm not gonna say she's chipper almost, but she's clearly like not afraid of it. She knows what's happening. She's so, as I say, Daria has a huge amount of self-awareness, despite, you know, whatever her condition might be. You see it now, do you not? My transparency, my lack of substance. I'm not getting better. Since the storm, every day, ribbons of me falling into oblivion. I have lost too much. I am incomplete beyond repair. Below the critical mass required for a continued existence. Echoes of echoes can only last so long. Goodbye, Stella. Farewell, Dario. It was a pleasure to meet you and get to know you, and then get to know the real you. And I hope you have a safe journey to the other side. What a beautiful story that is for her one, isn't it? And the music, again, the cycle of life and death, represented in the real bridge and the real doorway and the reflection of it. And just like that, she's gone. A stillness remains, but the vibrancy. Has she taken it with her? I suppose therein lies the question. As we get a new constellation in the sky to represent her, and the memory we have of her. Beautiful, no? Farewell, Daria. May you make music in a beautiful place in the future here from now. As we, I suppose, drive around, I'm not really sure what we need to do to prot Jackie's. We're not going to talk to everyone yet, obviously. We're going to do that in another final hurrah. I know we've already done that technically once before, when we sent Stella through the spirit door, but now we can do it properly with everyone, and with Lily as well, which I don't really know how things are affected, but, you know, having a look around at all the friends we sent on our way. It really is a beautiful story. Diaries one. You know, it's hard to say. I think it might be one of the better told, like, probably the best told story. I don't even know what we can do now, to be honest. We don't really have anything to do. I guess we can, like, continue exploring if we want. It's a little pointless, but you know, it's not like we really got much else to be doing. I'm just sort of looking. Oh, you know what we could do? Okay, let's go visit Susan, so we can check out the archive museum and see if there's anything that we need to particularly deal with, as we sort of just delay time waiting for both Buck's treasure map series to continue onwards. And I don't really know what is going to, how we start Jackie's quest or how it occurs, but I assume a day probably needs to pass. But meanwhile, let's go, you know, look at the archive. I don't remember who we got up to, so we're going to have to read them, swiftly read them again, just so we sort of know where we are. So files. I think we did it in groups of 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Do we remember this one? Thinks you don't need to know right now, loves marble and everything, says Mickey has never lost a fight. I feel like I remember that. I think citrine quartz with different stones. I do remember this one. Secretly thinks Rose's family is weird. Buck. And we read them in their voice. Commander, secretly thinks Demons and Ghouls 2nd edition is better than the first. Well, I'll take that. Has a fondness for Paul Bunyan. Paul Bunyan? Paul Bunyan. Oh, the lumberjack folk hero. Oh, an American or Canadian folklore. Can't help correcting people who say I could care less. You know, stand up for the grammatically correct. But, you know, you do you. Giovanni splashes himself with other people's perfumes whenever he can. Interesting. To make him smell like them, you know, either as a fond memory or as a destruction of the beautiful, I suppose. Had once stolen an ashtray that already belonged to him. What? Knows almost all of Pablo Neruda's poems by heart. Pablo Neruda? Former Senator of Republic of Chile. Okay. I don't know what poems do you have. Let's see if I recognise any of them. Poetry Foundation. They are probably going to be in Chilean, aren't they? Or in Spanish, I suppose. So that's going to be quite difficult for me to read. Fair enough. I guess it makes sense. You know, quite the poet at heart, aren't you, Giovanni? I can't remember what Stanley's voice was. Stanley, probably. So a squirrel once ate 2 breakfasts in a day one time. Likes looking up at the stars at night. Actually, no, I remember now. We started talking about each of the characters after we read that archive and what I remembered from them and their story. Because Bucks is one I didn't think I properly understood until after I read it, like in like some post analysis or like on TV trips or something. But Buck is already dead. You know, he's not actually someone we've like met in like palliative care or whatever during Stella's life, but that's why he was already an animal or a creature when we first met him, is because he was already deceased. And this is just like the memory we have of him. It was like he was Lily's friend or something, and this is how Stella imagined he would be. I'm not really sure why he's in the story necessarily in that way, because if we've never met him, maybe he was like Lily's like best friend or something. So that's a sort of like second-hand connection we have, and the imagination of who he could have been. It's sort of like, I guess it's meant to represent the sort of the loss of what could have been rather than the loss of what is, which is an interesting, you know, view on, you know, well, loss in general, which is game's entire thing. It's its entire thing, isn't it? Giovanni is certainly quite a hot topic character, I suppose, with his constant cheating, I suppose, on Astrid and betrayal of someone who, you know, is quite beloved. But I do like how Giovanni's story is also explained, you know, that wasn't he was like a war veteran or something. He's basically someone who's gone through a lot of trauma, but he's someone who couldn't, you know, heal and move past it in a sense, and ended up becoming, you know, not a great person because of it. You know, he's a real mixed bag, because you can tell he is a good, you know, he has a good heart, but he's just still not a great person either, which is cool, you know, I think, in a sense to so boldly make you connect with someone who most people would unabashedly be like, that's like, you know, cheating on someone in a relationship, in a very long committed relationship, no less, is one of the highest orders of betrayal that most people could feasibly experience, right? It's something which people deeply resent for good reason, to be fair. And it's something which Giovanni, you know, he doesn't really, from what I remember, he doesn't really get like redemption for. He just gets sort of like explanation of his actions. And I think that's a very bold move for a video game, and one I appreciate a lot. You know, and it's one which Spiritfarer is not afraid of doing, is just making you feel connected or sympathy or, you know, any sort of like telling of a story of someone who is not like 100% a good person, you know, and not even like people do bad things sometimes. Like, I think it's hard to argue that Giovanni, you know, especially in his later life, was a good person with the amount of he betrayed Astrid, but it makes for a compelling story, doesn't it? It makes you think, and that's kind of what story and art is about. So Stanley just, you know, as we go get the Looter's review, is just a horribly heartbreaking story, right? He was like abused, I believe, as he is a child, and he died because of neglect, from what I remember. And like, I remember he says stuff about like not like having proper meals or something, and it's absolutely heartbreaking, to be honest. Looter's literary review presents fifth of a Crow's End Ink Lost Bounty, and remember the rain is only the fastest way water can travel. Encloses a Portland chart of a reference. I don't know what that means, but still. Is it genuinely a heartbreaking like story, I suppose, for Stanley? I don't know where that is, but I guess let's try and find it. Yep, that's what I remember. Is like he probably died of neglect or something. I don't know if it was necessarily under Stella's care, or that was just someone that she saw. Oh yeah, I forgot we're meant to be over here looking at the archive. I don't know if the archive will be incomplete, because I'm pretty sure we filled it up last time we played, but I don't know. Well, I mean, you're making sounds like you're an NPC we should talk to. Makes me want to go read the TV tropes of Spiritfarer all over again. Talk. What do you want? Get on with it already. Alright. Collections. All done? All done? All done? All done? I want to see if they added on but they did add on the recipes. I guess it doesn't matter, because we actually get the awards like way before 100%. So, okay, so we don't actually need to do anything with Susan, or whatever your name is. Which I guess is good. A quest from who? From whomst? Probably from you. Are you awake? What? You want a hug? Yeah, I don't really know, to be honest. Maybe you. We need to wait for daytime for that to happen. I guess I'll wait for or sleep because it might proc whatever starts Jackie's story. I think if I were to use my video game meta knowledge. Yeah, Stanley is generally a heartbreaking story. When you learn more about it, at least that's what I remember. I might just be completely making this up. Maybe it's all just sort of speculation. It's not actually the story, but okay. So first things first, let's actually just head to the bus stop as we search around for this area, which we need to find. So we got a sort of like bean shape, if I recall. It might. Could it be this? No, I don't think it was dark and stormy. Could it be that? I thought it was enclosed at the bottom. It does plausibly seem like it could be here. We haven't had one in that area, and I don't see anything which is all that markedly close to it. So I think we'll teleport there and look for the Prezi. See if that's actually the case. Because I have a hunch that's probably where it is. I wonder why the hint about rain then. In which case that's quite useful because it's very near the bus stop. But let's also wake up Buck first, just to see if he talks about it as a quest. Because he might do, he might not do, I don't really know. Ding dong. The witch is dead. You got anything to say to us, Buck? Good morning. Your humble... oh, okay. I guess not, man. Tuna Tataki. I don't know where on earth we got that from, but sure. I guess you have nothing to... does he only say stuff after we get the treasure? It might be after the treasure. These poor turtles, which we haven't spoken to for ages because we don't need their materials anymore. How many more people do we have for the archive? 1, 2, 3. Unknown? That must be Jackie. What on earth? I swear we looked at this before and it said Jackie. Why does it say unknown now? I guess this is why it said talked about rain, the torrential rain. Rain, rain, go away. Come back another day. We got... is that Konji? Mock rule. 20 shoes and a small glim bottle. Okay. Was... talk to back. Okay. I guess. Also travel back. If we can come back time to the good old days. Captain.
Arr, what a poor all, which makes sense since its proximity to flotsam shores. That old makeshift container city underwater, built from debris and flotsam. Rumours have been floating around. See what I did there? Rumours that inhabitants came from nearby islands. They were just tired of paying their landlords and left. They created a container paradise, a place for all free for rent, which smells quite bad and has a humidity of a wet towel. And that's coming from me, old Johnny Silverleg. Well, we're soldiers of fortune. We take what we can get. Another week for another Luther's Literary Review.
Another week? Does that mean 2 in-game days is a week? I don't know really where we're going to go, so let's just teleport to... nowhere in particular? Really isn't much need for us to do anything, hey? Are there like, places where we haven't got all the things? All the chests, that is? Might as well, you know, have a little look-see. See if we've missed out anything. I mean, I wonder if it's worth going back to Overbrook just to see if anything's different. And then in the next episode, we'll finish off the archive. I don't know what's happening with Jackie. Oh, what the heck? I think I know what's happening with Jackie. I see him in there. I have no idea when you got there, but let's round this episode off for now. So if you have been watching, thank you very much. It's been Spiritfarer. I've been Dear Darling. Likes, comments, subscription, shares are greatly appreciated. Twitter, Discord down below. Hope we see each other again. But for now, it's our farewell. So until next time, bye bye for now.